So here are some tips for effective prompting. First of all, be clear and specific. The more detailed, the more specific, the better the response. And you can include limitations, you can restrict it down to exactly what you want. Be very clear and specific. This is something, as I look at these and work through these, with maybe my personality or maybe being human, I don't know, we kind of feel like, oh, I hate to ask too much. Like we can maybe beat around the bush a little bit. Could you maybe help with this? We don't typically walk up to someone and say, I am a third grade teacher. I need this and I want that. It rubs us wrong to even talk like that. But that's how you want to talk to AI because it's giving it that very clear and specific instruction. The next one, include context. So you want to include tone, role, audience, things like that. So who is it? I am a fifth grade teacher. I have fifth grade students who read on a fourth grade level. Like you're giving them that very detailed information, giving it that detailed information. Specify your output format. Do you want a list? Do you want a dialogue? Do you want a script? Be sure to include that. Break down those complex requests. So if you were to say something like, define recycling and write a story about it for second graders, probably your definition is going to be woven into the story because that kind of came as one instruction. So you may, if you want a definition and then a story, you might want to say define recycling on a second grade level or that second graders can understand, and then write a story for second graders to read about a child who recycles in her neighborhood or something like that. We're going to give more detail, but you see how I broke down those different requests? Provide reference materials. This is something we often forget as well, that you can give resource materials. So you can say, here is a source I have. It's a document. It's an image. It's a website. And again, back to the underlying understanding that you want to be really careful of who owns that. If it's copyrighted, if it's someone else's picture, all those things we want to take into consideration as we do that. But saying, here is a spreadsheet. You don't have to type all that in. If you have a website that you're looking at and you want review questions from it, you don't have to go pull the information, copy and paste and put it in there. You can say, I would like 10 review questions from this website at a fifth grade level. And it will get that for you as long as you give it that website, give it that document. Then follow up as needed. You want to refine that prompt. So you're going to clarify, you're going to restate, you're going to rephrase. Okay, now let's go back through and I want to take these tips. So there are 6 of them. I want to break them down and give you an example of each because these are going to be really key. Remember, AI is like a young intern. We've all had those student teachers or interns, and they really, really want to help. Please, can I do that? Please, can I write this for you? Please, can I grade that for you? Can I pull this for you? Can I give you insights on this? And it's right there for us. And we have to say, okay, here's something you can do for me. And we give very specific instructions, right? We've also had that opportunity to work with someone where we didn't give clear instructions and it didn't quite turn out like we had hoped for. It wants to help, but it needs that guidance. Okay, so here's how you can give guidance. The very first one was be clear and very specific. So again, more detail is a better response. If you're vague, your response is going to be very unpredictable. It's hard to tell what you might get. State the job that you want done, and of course, include those limitations. So an example of something maybe we would type in Google, tell me about animals. It's going to give us all these animal websites. Is that an effective prompt? Why or why not? So no matter where you are listening to this, maybe you can just speak right back to me. Is that clear and specific? Before AI, we might have thought that was pretty good. With AI, no, not so much. So here's a better prompt. Tell me about the habitat and diet of elephants in the wild. Do you see how I made it very specific? I want to know about habitats and diets of what animal and where. And then I could continue, of course, to go on and tell what age level, what kind of activities I want. I can add to all of that. Instead of tell me about the American Revolution, you could say, please give me a 1-paragraph summary of the causes of the American Revolution on a level that a third grader could understand. Okay, so I'm giving it very, very specific. By the way, I was in some prompt engineering training, and something they recommended that might be helpful for you, especially if you're kind of trying to figure out how to talk to it this way, is to use your microphone. So some people, when they go to typing, they fall kind of back into that Google search type of format. If you speak it, sometimes you will become more conversational. And they actually did this in the training. So they had people write their prompts, and they were getting back some funny things, and it just wasn't what they were looking for. And they actually went around with a microphone that was attached to the computer and said, tell it what you want. And it was amazing how the human came out, and they started actually speaking and saying, I am this, I am looking for that, please make this, create that. And all of a sudden, it was just magic how it appeared, and how what results they were getting just were transformed because they were actually speaking to it more like they would if you were in a normal conversation. So just a little tip there as you're trying these, you might want to try just pushing the little audio, the speech to text button, and try talking it so your brain can kind of connect more that conversational style instead of just that the Google search terms. Okay, the next tip, we talked about being clear and specific. The next one is include context. So you're going to set the scene. Who is AI? What role is it playing? Also, what tone do you want it to be? What format? Do you want a really friendly tone? Do you want more of a very structured tone? You can include all of that. So here is a sample of a prompt. Tell me about photosynthesis. Okay. I think your results are not probably going to be what you're looking for, but here's a better prompt. Create an interactive lesson on photosynthesis that 5th grade students would understand. Do you see how I gave it the context? I need a lesson. Who is my audience? And I'm giving those specific details. How about something like, imagine you are a history teacher explaining the causes of World War I to middle school students. What would you say? And it's going to give you those ideas. Do you see how it's okay? I've seen prompts that are, they're not just this long. They can be pages long, actually. Okay, the next tip that we talked about was specify the output format. So how should it be organized? What style are you looking for? Do you want a list? Do you want a paragraph? Do you want a dialogue? Okay, here's an example. What are the highlights of the life of George Washington? Okay, I can give that to you. But here's a better prompt. Create an interview-style script between an interviewer and George Washington, highlighting key events of his life. See, it was very specific. Maybe give 5 reasons why recycling is so important. Put them in bullet points. Okay, so it's going to make that list for you. The next one, break down complex requests. So if it's multiple points, or multiple parts, be sure to structure it step by step. Or ask it for output in stages. So maybe ask for the definition, get that, then ask for the activity, get that, and go at it that way. Otherwise, it's going to put all those probably into one. So here's an example. Tell me how recycling works and write a story about it. Okay, so I'm probably going to get those mixed together, how it works within the story. I could break it down better like this. First, explain how recycling works. Then write a short story where 3rd grade students recycle in their community. See how I divided those out? So breaking down those complex requests. The next one, follow up as needed. It will adjust based on your feedback, and don't feel bad about that. I don't know, there's a human side to me that if it tells me something, I'm like, it's okay, don't worry about it, I'll figure it out. And you just tend to walk away. You don't need to do that. Follow up with it as needed. Ask for it to provide examples or give comparisons. Use reference material. Say, you know what, can you pull from this instead of just the general knowledge it's pulling from? Ask it to rephrase. Ask it to break it up. Okay, so you've given it something. It gives you a result you don't like. What is the wrong answer? To just walk away and blame AI. Nope, we're not going to do that. Instead, here be an example of a follow-up to a response. Could you expand that answer? Explain it as if I was a 4th grader and include 5 examples. See how I came back with additional requests for it? How about provide a review of this book like a casual blog post, similar to something I would find, and maybe you give your favorite website. Because again, it's referring to all this different data, all these different documents and websites. Okay, so those are our tips. So first, be clear and specific, include context, including the tone, role, and audience, specify your output format, break down those complex requests, and provide reference materials, and of course, following up as needed. An overarching rule of thumb is assume your prompt needs work, not the platform. With technology, we have, oh, this isn't working, forget it, I'll go figure it out, and we walk away from it. In this case, don't walk away. Just adjust your prompt, and I think you'll get a much, much, much better response if you will just stick to it. Brought to you by BJU Press.